Listen to the Goose Gang and gain your might. We will print and we will earn. Quest to gain as tokens burn. Join the ranks of the brave and bold. Story of the LP Army told. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic feast, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Poach your wings with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic feast, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Oh.
Yeah. Welcome
Hell
everyone to day 2 of the Meteora LP Army Bootcamp. I hope you're jacked up on that absolute banger. Some light metal in the early morning. And for me in the afternoon. Let's get into it. So before we begin, let's go over some of the disclaimers. What we're doing here today is somewhat like gambling. You should really manage your own risk. That's your responsibility. What we tell you today is really for educational purposes. I recommend that you figure out how much money you're willing to just burn, and that's basically what you should practice and learn with. This is a risky thing. You can lose money. You can make money, but you can lose money. So just be responsible. Have a system in place and take accountability for yourself. If this does not vibe with you, if you're not up for this, then this presentation and course is probably not for you. Otherwise, let's move on. So some of the prerequisites for today. First, you need to agree to those terms and conditions. You'll also need a Web3 wallet for your browser. So that can be Phantom, Backpack, Soulflare. There's a few. And like I said, you got to be prepared to lose before you win. Losing is a great way to learn. It's an awesome way to learn. For me, I considered every time I lost in my journey to learning how to use Meteora's tools as part of the tuition to learn how to be a good LPer. When I won, I didn't go all in. I stuck to a system that I created for myself. Started with a small amount. The great thing about Meteora's tools is you can use a very small amount. You don't have to put crazy amounts in. So, learn from failure, assess your progress, increase incrementally when you have reached certain milestones in your proficiency and your ability. When you're consistently winning, you can increase the size, because every time you increase the size, stakes get higher, things get a little bit different. Just take it easy. You don't need to go all in from the beginning. And I guess I should introduce myself. I go by the name of Chief. I am one of your DLMM instructors today. I live on a tropical island in Philippines, and I surf, and I love crypto and gaming. My crypto journey started 2020 when I started with some ETH NFTs and some helium mining. Then along the way, I've eventually found Meteora while doing my round of airdrop farming. And I quite quickly realized that I would get better returns and faster returns doing this than doing what I feel like. I don't know about you guys, but for me, airdrop farming feels a little bit like doing homework. And I found this way more engaging. So I, got involved at the time. There's a lot less resources for everyone to learn from, and I have since I watched some of the early boot camps and try to just absorb as much information as I could. And since February, pretty much every day, along with quite a few other people that are here today, have basically been using LPing this whole time. So I am one of the founding members of GooseDAO. You'll see a few Goose PFPs in the chat today. And you can follow me on It's Chief on X and follow the GooseDAO, which is a Meteor LP Army sub DAO. So I LP like it's a full-time job. I try to do it every day. What I hope to be able to help you guys with is progress through that learning curve much faster than I did. We have a lot more tools and we refined how we educate now. So let's actually put that to use. So some of the other wonderful people that are here with us today. You have Alex, Tux, and Mario in the chat to help answer your questions. If you have any questions, there are no stupid questions. Fire away. If you're in the Zoom, and I recommend if you're watching on Twitter or something, get into our Zoom, which is posted in the Meteor Discord, and use the Q&A feature. It just helps us manage the inflow of questions and helps us delegate who's going to answer which question. All of these people are active in the Discord. You can almost certainly get the answer you're looking for from one of them, no matter what language you're asking as well. So we can see a few people here that can answer questions in Chinese and French. I think Yusuf will be coming later, maybe Gosha. And that's, this is a great team. I learned a lot from these people. So please fire away your questions to them. So like I said, use the Q&A. We'll also be doing some exercises you can follow along. Really is to help you to learn by doing. You can observe what happens and have a go at it. Please put in a small amount. And then more importantly, get involved with the community, join the Discord, the Meteor Discord, ask your questions in there. Find other people who are similar stage of the journey as you, make some alliances, some friends, and you'll quickly learn how to master this amazing tool. So before we get stuck into it, we've compiled a community list of just an insane amount of resources. So if you really want to go deep diving into how all this works, what communities are out there, other old boot camps, other videos that go into things a bit more deeply, it's all in here. I believe Cook will post this in the webinar chat for you to copy and paste. You can scan with a QR on your phone. So there's a lot of additional learning information about the point system. I think we covered some of that yesterday, and some other really cool community-made tools that help you LP. Cook, you're going to be able to get that link. Can I move on to the next?
Yeah, let me get that link. I'll share that link in the chat for everybody. But yeah, you can also scan that with your phone.
People asking, am I still here in the Philippines? Yes, I am here. So what are we going to cover today? Basically, we're going to expand on what we learned day one. We're going to go through from top to bottom the process of LPing something with the DLMM. So you choose your token, how to identify, whether or not it's safe to get involved in this token, how to identify what range you're going to be positioning yourself in, and then how to check how your performance is doing, how much profit or loss you made. So the LP Army have made a lot of great tools, and there are also obviously many great on-chain tools to help you with all of this. What we'll cover today is essentially the basics, get you, oh, my video went off. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We see you.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll go over the essential use of these tools to help you LP, and then we'll have a go at it. At the end, we'll give you a task. You have to do the task starting from today, and you have something like a week or more to complete it.
Exactly 1 week.
Yeah, and we'll share more information about that as we get closer to the end of the bootcamp. And yeah, if you complete that task, you'll graduate and earn the LP Army private role, which unlocks some cool stuff in the Meteora Discord, and you get a cool graduation NFT. So by the end of today, we're going to be able to identify scam tokens. We're going to find good opportunities. We're going to get the basics of reading a chart. We're going to look at the different kinds of strategies you might want to employ for different situations. And we're going to use some of the on-chain and community-made tools that the LP Army have created. So in my opinion, how to thrive as an LPer is the benefit of using the DLMM and the LP is much better risk management than just buying and holding crypto. In this way, you can have lots of consistent wins, albeit a little bit smaller in P&L, but also your losses are a lot smaller. So I think it's a really good idea to have a very systematic approach and focus on consistency over time. So a good rule of thumb is to treat LPing like its own separate small business. You don't ape everything in your portfolio into it. Maybe create a new wallet, fund it with however much you want to put in, and then calculate based on that amount, I guess a percentage, maybe like 3%, of what you might want to commit to each position or each token that you want to LP. It's really important at that point to also have a stop loss identified, a point where you'll cut your losses and say, okay, it didn't work out this time. And equally, or even more importantly, identifying when you're going to take profit so you don't accidentally round trip your gains. As you progress and as you do more of this, try pushing a little bit out your comfort zone, then reducing if you feel like the performance is affected, and try to get an assessment of your risk tolerance. I think crypto Twitter is really good at trying to hype everyone up into being these ultra degen, put it all in on this. Well, actually, I think one of the great things about the Meteora LP Army and the DLMM is it's a way of getting exposure to crypto if you have a lower risk tolerance than straight up gambling on meme coins, for example. So have a method, practice, test, and collaborate with other people. It's a really great way of getting really good at this and good at anything, really. So yeah, just to let everyone know, the Meteora API is bugging out right now. So don't panic if your profit and loss cards look big negative or something like that. Right. So what kind of tools do you need to thrive in this LP environment? So we have on-chain tools, and this will help us determine if things are safe. We commonly use things like rugcheck.xyz and bubble maps. Then we have opportunity finding tools, and these will be identifying where the volume is, where the trade volume is happening. And that's things like Dex Screener or Alex's wonderful metlex.io. You also then can use Dex Screener to do technical analysis to kind of identify where you want to place your liquidity, as well as maybe charting to understand where things might go, whether or not it's good to enter or not. And then you want to use something like GeekLad's tool. By the way, we will show all of these. We'll demonstrate all of these later in the bootcamp, later in today's bootcamp. So you want to use something like GeekLad's profit analysis tool to measure your overall performance, or the MetLex P&L tool to assess the performance of that specific position. So let's get into some of the specifics. What we're looking at here is a website called rugcheck.xyz. And in case you weren't aware, when someone mints a token onto the blockchain, there are different settings that they can choose, including things like whether or not the token is frozen, which means they can't, that you as a holder cannot move the token to another wallet, which means you can't sell it or buy it. And there are many other different things that scammers and nefarious people on the blockchain might use to basically steal your money. So before you even bother committing any energy into deciding whether or not you want to LP something, it's a good idea to run the contact address through rugcheck.xyz. So you can see here we've checked Hawkwood, and it's identified a bunch of different dangers. So one of the most common ways of getting wrecked doing DLMM is LPing a coin where there's really high percentage of ownership concentrated in a very few or small group of people. So you can see here, one person owns 91% of the supply, which means if they even sold 10% in one go, it would probably nuke the price and devalue all your tokens. That there's low liquidity, which means that there's not many liquidity pools on the chain that can facilitate your trade. So you might not even be able to exit. That it's been copied from another token, and all of these things are big red flags. So just don't bother if you see stuff like this. As you get a bit more proficient, maybe low amount of LP providers is an opportunity for you as an LPer, but I think in your first few months, it's best to just go where the crowd is and the safety in numbers. So use RugCheck to make sure the token doesn't have any bad attributes. Now, another amazing website is bubblemaps.io. And Bubble Maps will show you a map of all the sorry, hold on. We've had a question through the Q&A. Is the RugCheck accuracy better now? So I would say RugCheck accuracy is pretty good for definitive things, like whether or not it's freezable. Not fantastic, or scammers are getting smarter and learning how to trick RugCheck. So stuff like whether or not there is a concentration of holders, is people are getting better at hiding it. So that's why you need to use it in conjunction with something like Bubble Maps, which I'm showing here, which will show you a breakdown of the top 100 wallets, I think, something like that, and how much of the supply each wallet owns. And then you'll see here, there's some clusters of wallets where you can see some arrows, and the rings are touching. It means that it's likely that the tokens have been transferred between these wallets directly. And so it's likely that this cluster is owned by one person. So even though you might look on your trading terminal and tool or whatever and see that the highest one holder has 4%, the reality is they might have like 8 or 10 because they own a bunch of cluster of wallets that control a big amount of the supply. And even Bubble Maps has been, people are getting better at hiding if they have clusters of wallets. So this is really mostly applicable to very early meme coins. Once things start getting into the over 5 million market cap and start growing, then it's less of a problem. But it's certainly good practice to review these things and check. Okay, so we had another question. Is there a reference value of how much a dev should hold or a single entity in general? Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to dump. It just means that, so say if they held 5%, they could do a lot of damage to the price in one transaction. So it's not whether or not there's like a specific number that you should, and maybe you can identify one that you're comfortable with, but it's more like how much are you going to invest when the percentage is that high, you know? Because obviously they could be this doesn't happen very often, but they could be quite altruistic and just hold it to the billions, but most of the time they take the money they take the money early on. So yeah, it is an additional key risk indicator, as Tuck says. So I would normally go for around, I get a bit scared anything above like 3% in one person holds. Now, another important thing to look out for when selecting a token is wash trading. Wash trading is a common practice that a lot of projects use to launch their token, and scammers use to create honeypots to trick you into thinking something is super popular. And on this screenshot here, I'm showing you a very suspicious looking chart. And the green and red vertical lines on the bottom of the screen are a timeline of the volume, the buy and sell volume. And one thing that seems very unnatural to me are these gaps where basically nothing is happening, which is almost unheard of in the 24-hour market of crypto. So if you open a chart and you see something that looks like this, where there's abnormal spikes, and then what appears to be very uniform periods of volume, and then these suspicious gaps in volume, this is probably unsafe. It seems pretty manipulated by an individual or a group of individuals. Try to, when you look at this, there's no hard and fast rule, but just try to assess whether or not it's organic. So the reason why they do this is they try to drum up a lot of volume so that the token appears on the rankings of the top 10, top 100, whatever. And yeah, so they will tactically use this to basically manipulate people into thinking there's a lot more people interested in the coin than there really is. So how do we find opportunities to DLMM? Well, first of all, the Meteora Discord is an excellent place for this. You can start off with using Geeklad's DLMM ops bot, which is a Discord bot installed in the Meteora Discord, and you can prompt it and just ask it for a list of tokens to your specifications. So if you type in help, it'll tell you how to use it. So it categorizes tokens into sort of memes, strict list, and stables, and blue chip. And for those of you unaware, the stable would be something like USDC and USDT. A blue chip will be something like Sol and Jido Sol and some of the LSTs. And strict list will be the more popular coins, like Mother or WIF or something like that have been around for a while. There's very strong consensus that this is a real project. And then memes will be stuff that's not verified yet. It's the highest risk category. So when you prompt the Discord bot, it will show you a clickable link that'll take you to the Meteora pool. It'll tell you what the 24-hour TVL percentage is the estimated amount that your liquidity would bake in that pool based on the last 24 hours and remember this can be overstated or understated. If the price is trending up or down, how much is TVL is in that pool at the moment? What's the market cap of the token? And how many bin steps there are, and what the base fee, which in this LOL to Sol is 2% and 100 bin steps. Oh, there's a basic rug check on here, although you should still do your own research. Now, a really cool thing that we added, basically born off the back of some of the activity we're doing in the Goose DAO, we added DLMM together live into the Meteora Discord, where people are sharing their thesis about different positions and tokens that they're interested in LPing, where they enter, what links to help you quickly navigate things like the rug check and flow maps. So this is a good place to find some of the more established ones.
And it's also great to pull together, because whenever people come together and pull together, you can really get some good action, get some good TVL in there, and LPing is more fun with friends.
It absolutely is. The Goose DAO are LPing together every day. There's a lot of people in the Meteora Discord doing the same, and Show Us Your Curves is really a great channel for that. And yeah, maybe you're thinking, oh, it's over, and someone else is still bullish, and it might help you stick with it, or you learn things as they happen as well, which is really, really valuable. And you can obviously debate with them whether or not it's a good idea, or it's also a great way of not missing any opportunities, working together. The really cool thing about LPing with Meteora is it's what the industry are kind of calling PPP, which means it's not really zero sum. Just because other people are getting in the pool with you and LPing doesn't dilute enormously your fees. In fact, in some ways it can help. And basically most people that are learning to use Meteora don't have enough TVL to really diminish everyone else in the pool. So you get involved, like start meeting some people in the Discord, and be really worth your while. So you found the token you want, it's safe. You open up the DLMM. Are you just going to put max number of bins and spot position and just set and forget? Or do you want to get more refined and really figure out exactly where all the action's happening? So if you're unfamiliar with technical analysis, most people use it to chart what they think will happen to a token in the future from a buying perspective. But there's actually some amazing tools on there that are really relevant for LPers. And we'll go through some of my favorites here. There are actually many more that you can use. So the first thing what I aim to do when I look at technical analysis, try to identify where the support and resistance is in terms of the price. So what that means is at what price do a lot of people start buying and people stop selling, and at what price do a lot of people start selling and most people stop buying? And you'll see as the chart progresses that there tends to be a floor in which things don't go below. And when things break out above a certain level, then we usually see quite a dramatic breakout in the positive. But really what we're looking for is not just where the price might fluctuate, but also are there people trading this token, this pair of tokens? And by that I mean the volume. So when you're looking at volume, you're comparing it on a time frame. So you might want to look at the 6-hour volume, the 5-minute volume, the 15-minute volume, the 1 minute. These are all different time frames that give you more granular detail about what's happening. And you might want to adjust the time frame depending on your ambition for the token. If you're just in it for a quick buck and you want to get in and out, maybe you're only really concerned about the 1 to 5 minute. But if you're thinking of setting something up for a longer period of time, you definitely want to chart based on like a longer time frame, like a 6 hour. And so yeah, you're looking at not just the volume in general, but how much of that volume is buy volume and how much of that volume is sell volume. And so we have a question here. How do you check all these indicators on radium pairs? Well, we don't, because we're on Meteora. No, but seriously, these indicators are all there. I'll show you. We do the demo. We'll go through all of these indicators live. But it doesn't matter which DEX you're using. The indicators are available. It's native to DEX Screener rather than the exchange that the pool is in. So there are 3 indicators that I really like to use. The first is the MACD indicator. And what this is really good at is identifying the momentum of the volume, whether or not if the buy momentum is increasing or the sell momentum is increasing. And so what you're looking at here is a 0 line across the middle, which means it's neutral, like there's an equal number of buyers and sellers. And then you have a histograph, this kind of bar chart above and below it. The further the bars are from the 0 line, the greater the amount of, in this case, bullish volume, and in this case, bearish volume. And you can see when the colors change from this dark green to a lighter green, it means that the previous bar has had more buy volume, and then now the buy volume is slightly, it's gone a bit, it's slowing. And then it's slowing again and slowing again until eventually it becomes sell volume, and the sell volume is increasing until eventually the sellers are exhausted and the sell volume starts to decrease and more buyers are appearing. And so that's what you're looking at here. And so this is really good, especially if you're using the DLMM to swing trade. It's really good at identifying when you might want to withdraw a position and set up a new, take the profits. And then when you want to set up a new position that might be preparing for the price to go down with your aim to sell when it bounces back up later, which we'll cover this in more detail soon. Then you also have these 2 lines. These 2 lines are related to the averages. And essentially when they, let me just tidy this up a little bit for you guys. When these lines cross, that indicates a period where the momentum has changed direction. So if you check this cross and you plug it with you can see that the sell volume had exhausted, and now it's switched to the net volume was buying. And you can see the same, but in opposite situation, the net volume is now selling. So these things are really useful for basically identifying when something might reverse. And often this happens just before the price changes as well. So you can actually front run the change in price a little bit by sort of reading how the volume is changing. Because if there are less buyers appearing, then suddenly, and more sellers are appearing, then you know the price will go down soon. So the next thing we have is the RSI indicator, and this is used basically to identify the same situation. So here, instead of a histogram, we just have a line chart, and we have a value at the top, and a value at the bottom, and a 0 line in the middle. And as this swings up and down between the 0 line to these are the values at the top and bottom, they indicate how overbought or oversold something is. Now, we consider above 70 to be over, below 30 to be oversold. And when I say these numbers, when you're looking on the chart, if you hover your mouse, you'll be able to see what the number is. So if the line is rising, it's indicating that there's an increasing buying momentum, and if it's falling, it's the opposite. So what you're looking out for in this situation, just as the one changes where there's a reversal, and these will indicate what might be about to happen. Okay. Now, the most important tool, I think, for a LPer, besides obviously the price, is the volume profile visible range, in my opinion. This is essentially a bar chart that gets pasted over the price along the axis of the price and tells you where, and I've actually colored this so it matches the DLMM's interface, but tells you where the amount of trade volume has happened, which price zone. So we can see that between here and here, there has been much more trade activity than above and below. So when it comes to charting, this will be basically a really good place to place your position. You know, you might want to set the upper bound to just above the average and just below the and again, I will show all of this live when we go to the demo part. I'm just introducing these concepts for now. So these are really useful tools to help you identify when to enter, exit, when to where to put your position. So you figured out where you want to be, but where are you going to place your liquidity and what shape? So I know that Cook went over some of these yesterday in day one, and we could see some. Okay, this is a great question. Is it a good idea to do charting on meme coins because memes are just 1 to 2 days old? And actually, it raises the question of why you might want to look at other dexes when charting rather than just the Meteora pool. Especially if the pool is new and there's not that many trades through it, you don't have that much information. And so when it comes to charting, really all you're doing is looking at the average action of all the different wallets that are interacting with that with those tokens. So the more data you have, the more accurate the average is. And so the further zoomed out you are, and the older the information is, the more accurate the charting is going to be. Of course, no one can really predict the future. And when it comes to meme coins, you know, a small one individual may have an outsized impact on the price, and it might not follow the trend. You know, so is it a good idea? I think it absolutely is a necessary idea, thing to do. It's just you just have to realize that the earlier it is, the less accurate it will be. But it does give you a general idea of where things are, which is really helpful. And especially when you're looking at things like the volume trends, that stuff is live, and you know, you're trying to assess is the volume trend increasing minute to minute or hour to hour, and in which case that is very useful for an LPer. Okay, so going back to strategies, and we have one of the great things about the DLMM is your ability to deposit your liquidity in a very dynamic range. And so one of the greatest aspects of it is your ability to just put in one token instead of both. So for example, we have a look at this. This is for a pair between Sol and Lucy. And in this image, we can see that the LPer has deposited just Solana into the pool and not bought any Lucy. And not only have they deposited just Solana, but they've deposited in the bid-ask strategy, which means that they are placing more SOL at a lower price than at the higher end. So as the price goes down, they are buying more, essentially trading more Solana for Lucy. The benefit of this is that it tends to be that when looking at trading, that people will wait to buy at a lower price or sell when it's at the highest price. So it stands to reason that areas in the middle tend to get less volume, and areas that are on the fringes of the support and resistance tend to have more volume. So in this way, you're ready to catch that volume as it happens, with the majority of your SOL sort of placed at the lower end of the price. Now, oh, sorry, you say something.
Oh, I was just going to point out that this is actually a mixed strategy, because there is a base of spot here, and you can tell because of the drop off there, right? That's how you see it, because it's not going all the way down. So this was actually my position. I laid down a layer of spot and then added that bid ask, and I do that so that I'm still getting some fees right here. I still want the advantage of the bid ask, but I still want to get a little bit of fees, a little bit of action right there. So that's why I put in a little basis spot there. So this is a mixed strategy.
Yes, so that's a really good point, and that's a really important feature of Meteor is that you can stack strategies on top of each other. And in this situation, you're essentially hedging between earning a lot of fees and earning from positive divergent loss. And what that means is, if the dynamic fees are crazy and there's so much trade volume happening, you really want spot, because you're gonna get you're making outsized returns from the fees as the trade happens. But if there's not a lot of volume and not a lot of trading activity, but the price is changing a lot, then you want to probably weigh more heavily into the bid ask. And that's because you have the ability, when the price gets down to this point, to withdraw your liquidity and then place it back into the pool. But this time you can do it as a bid ask, but in the opposite direction. And so that allows you to take the tokens that your position. So I've lost the drawing. Take the tokens that that you bought from down here and now deposit them incrementally more as the price goes higher. So we've got a question here. Any plans on implementing mixed strategies in addition to the 3 we have available now? Not that I know of. You can achieve most of what you need by stacking these 3 strategies in different ways. But yeah, there's the thing about being able to stack it is you can create multiple different ways to do it, and you can also create multiple positions over the same price range and have different strategies in those.
Yeah, you can create a lot of really insane shapes with things, and so and adding strategies would probably cause. I mean, that's a lot of redesign. I don't see that happening.
No. So moving on to actually, I'm just going to switch to this one, the toothpaste, because this might be what you end up with if you let this play out and then you withdrew all your liquidity when it was at the end, and then you deposit it back in, you'd end up with this kind of shape if you deposit it back in, like I said. But here the LP has, which is Geekland in this case, has also put a layer of spot just to make sure that there's always liquidity in one of the bins, no matter the price. But then he's also deposited the rest of the lion's share of his liquidity in the bid ask in this case, selling more SOL as the price goes up. And so yeah, like he describes it as a toothpaste because it's basically like stuff gets squeezed out. He then withdraws the liquidity and places it again, more aggressive lines. So the purple and the purple isn't really helping. And so this is a really excellent way of making best use of the dynamic feature of the dynamic liquidity placement feature of the DLMM. What we're looking at here is an extension of the bid ask, except in this situation, it looks like Heavy Metal Cook has claimed fees that he's earned in the DLMM and then deposited them back into the LP, but this time depositing them in a slight bid ask just so that more of the fees get sold as it goes higher if it pumps up. And this is where he's sort of compounding on top of it. And then we have something that looks like this. And this is a position called Bid Ask Chill by Mario. He's here today. And he's doing SOL and USDC. And we can see the range is quite big. You know, we're talking from 116 to 132, which is for SOL quite a big range. And he's concentrated very little liquidity in the 22 to 24 zone. His USDC is placed in a bid ask, meaning as the price goes down, more USDC will be used to buy SOL. And then the reverse is true for his SOL. And so what he's banking on here is that the price will swing quite a lot between these two ends. And so he assumes that most of the trading is going to happen in these areas, and very little is going to happen in the middle. And yeah, so basically the idle liquidity, the liquidity is not being used by Meteora to facilitate trades, will be in the area where he thinks there's going to be less trading. And if he had run this LP position, he'd be in profit at the moment, given SOL's now like 160. So it would have pumped out here, and he would have been left with USDC only. And so, you know, you have a play around with the different ones. Okay, we have another question. If I see a downward trend in token price, should I go for bid ask or better consider another token? Well, the first question you should ask yourself in that situation is, do you believe the token will bounce back? Because if you do, then you should LP it, as long as you believe that it will bounce back. So if it's trending down, it's a great opportunity. That's not really possible on a lot of other LP platforms. You can use the bid ask. The bid ask is excellent for, you know, you don't even have, you just make a bid ask way below the where you think the floor might be, and then wherever it gets down to and it starts reversing, and remember we could use the MACD and the RSI to identify where it might reverse. That's when you can withdraw your liquidity, and now you have had basically the equivalent of DCAing into the token. You can then just hold it and sell it when it comes back up at a higher price, or you could deposit it as spot, which means you're still putting some of the token that you bought cheaply into the more expensive bins, but also exposing yourself to fees across every price point. So there are many different ways you can play it, but you know, for an LP to work, you kind of need the price to go up and down. Okay, so moving on. So I kind of described this a little bit earlier, but this is a wonderful graphic by Ewan. Do this when the price is dumping, and do this when the price is pumping. So this is the way you can use the bid ask. Like you were asking, is there if you can see a downward trend, should I go for bid ask or consider another? Well, you can see quite often it trends down before it does bounce back up. You can see it trended down here and then bounce back up. So if you think the price is going to range, then the bid ask is excellent for this. Where you essentially create a bid ask, you say buy more when it gets to this lower level, then you withdraw and you place it the opposite direction. In this case, selling Billy as more Billy as the price goes higher. Okay. So I'm going to move on. We're getting close to the 1 hour mark. And actually, we're going to do some LPing. So give me a moment while I fire up my Okay, can you guys see
Yes,
my browser window?
we do.
Okay, cool. So first of all, we'll follow basically everything we've just gone through. So first, we're going to find an opportunity to LP. And one of the great tools for this is Metlex. And we're going to go into Metlex, which has this wonderful new graphics added in. And can you see the screen? Like, can you read it, or do I need to zoom in a little bit more?
It looks fine to me.
Okay. So yeah, so one of the amazing things that Alex has added in is this tab here, DLMM 100. And so this will give you the top 100 DLMMs by today's fees. So it's ranking which pools based on fees are doing the best. And it'll give you this huge, confusing looking list, but it's pretty straight to the point and tells you everything you kind of need to know. So what we're going to do is I prefer to LP stuff that has a base fee. When I say base fees, like the minimum amount of fees that you'll earn per trade in that LP, greater than 2%. So at least 2% on every trade. And then I'm going to filter it sort of 6-hour volume is greater than 0. So we're not really interested in stuff that's dying off in the last 6 hours. And then we're going to sort again by the amount of volume, maybe in the last 1 hour. So what stuff is hot right now? You can set a minimum and max TVL. And so there's a pretty good idea to set yourself a minimum TVL in the pool, because if you're the only one in it, it can suffer from not having enough liquidity depth. And when I say liquidity depth, what I mean is there's not enough tokens in any of the bins to facilitate bigger trade. So if you put $100 of goat and soul into a pool with very little TVL, and someone wants to just buy $200 worth of goat, you couldn't facilitate that trade. And so an aggregator like Jupiter would probably find something else like Iridium to do that trade. And so yeah, we run the filter and we get given a list here. And what you can see here at the top is the name of the pool, what the 24-hour fee per TVL is, how much it's made today. That's the pool itself is earned in fees, and what it's made in the last 24 hours. And then how much TVL, actually how much the total dollar value of all the assets in that pool equate to, and how much trading volume it's facilitated. What the bin step is, and then I'm going to assume everyone learn and knows what I mean when I say bin step, and the base fee.
Yeah, we did talk about it yesterday.
Nice. Then it gives you the market cap of the token in general, and then a quick, this is really useful, a price change in the last 5 minutes, 1 hour, 6 hours, to 24 hours. And equally, you get the same breakdown of buys and sells over the last 24 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour, 5 minutes. And then more volume details down here. And so I'm going to go for something very high market cap so that is Genon really that high now? Oh, wow. So I find something a little bit more. Maybe we'll go for more than 1%. Let's go with FOG. So we can see FOG has earned 1,500 and 300,000 TVL in here. And that over the last 1 hour, there's been a lot more buys than sells. But over the last 6 hours, there's been also more buys. So generally, we're seeing a positive trend in price. And so we can click into this and open up the Meteora page. And on here, you'll see the this little pop-out menu here, and a very handy rug check and bubble maps link embedded straight into Meteora. And so, make sure your wallet's connected, etc. But first, we'll check rug check. And here we can see that it says the risk analysis is good, that what the market cap is, that there's no mint authority, which is important, which means there's no one person that's has the authority to change stuff, and how much of the liquidity that the team, the dev, has locked in the liquidity pool. How much is locked, which means that they can't withdraw and sell it and leave you high and dry. Then we see a list of all the different markets, as in the dexes that supply this pair. And you can see there's a 100K of Giga and Fog in here. There's a bunch of different ones. And that to me seems pretty solid. We go back to the Meteora, we can check the bubble map. Okay, so looking at the bubble maps, yeah, it's the top 150 wallets, and how much of the supply they own. And we can see that the percentage is rather small. The biggest one has got 2%. So it's probably the team, or maybe the artist. And that the clusters are, they're not that huge. Like this cluster here is 1.6% of the supply. There's like 3 wallets that have quite a lot, but not an insane amount that is really going to, something at this high market cap is really going to damage if they dumped. Now we're going to take it a step further, actually, and there's a great website called gmgn.ai. So I'm just going to search this token on here, and I'm going to copy the token address and go to GMGN and search it in here. Now, GMGN is kind of an aggregator. It shows you a chart for the token across many different, it's like an average of all of them. If you went to Dex Screener and you searched the token address, you will see it'll list lots of different markets, and that means these are all different. You can see this is Radium, Orca, Meteora, and they're all facilitating trades of the same coin. They're all roughly the same price, a slight difference in price between them. This is more an average of everything. So on here, there's a lot of really important information that you should be checking before committing yourself to. First of all, they have an audit at the top, which is kind of the same as the rug check. So they're saying, there's the LP has been burnt. The top 10 wallets only own 11.89%, and there's no mint authority. So these things are your basic things you want to know about. They have this wonderful feature called rug pull, which they basically check the wallet that created the token and look at its previous tokens and check whether or not those tokens were rugged. So this dev address is not well, hasn't been known for any rug pulls beforehand. They have an index for how much of a blue chip something is, which kind of shows you the ratio of holders who also own blue chip tokens. And then the other basic information. You can also see that the devs sold all of their position, and they burn. They have a burn rate as well. So there's a lot of really positive things. We think I know Fog is it's been around for a while, so the chances of a major rug are slimmer. Of course, there's always risk to all of this. And we look at the chart overall. We're on the 1 hour mark. So let's go over some of the. Now we've identified that we want to LP this. We can go over some of the basics. And you'll get the same if you went into like Deck Screener. And like I said before, someone was asking, should you chart which decks? And I said that you want, the most information you can get to make the most accurate decisions, because it's based on averages. So that's why I like to use this website, GM. And so we can see in the last 24 hours, mostly been selling. There's almost 500,000 in sales. The net buy or the net sell is around there. In the last 1 hour, though, there's been a net buy of 53,000, of which 17,000 was in the last 5 minutes, and in the last 1 minute, so 1,000 has been spent.
We could probably do a whole course on this, on just this site. I need to get this added to the resources. This
site is amazing. Like it's great. And we'll go over doing some of the charting that I was talking about earlier. So first we talked about kind of identifying the bounds of where you might want to LP. So we had these indicators I was talking about. So let's get the volume. Oh, so by the way, to find the indicators, you click this button up here. And this is the same on Deck Screener, by the way. It's up here, FX indicators. So anyway, we'll do volume, profile, visible range. And so what we're looking at here, what we can tell from this is that down here between this zone and this zone, there was a lot of buying and selling happening. And that corresponds to the price, it sort of hovered in this area. Then the same down here. And now that zone is kind of this area. Is this all? I'm hoping this is making sense to everyone. And that in between, there was not a lot of volume comparative to the above and below. And that's because the price was moving quickly in an upward trajectory. So we know that a lot of volume in the last, how long was this if we go to date range? So from here to here. Last 14 days, a lot of the volume has been happening in between 0.2 and 0.15, basically. And that kind of makes sense when you think about it, because they're what we call psychological, what's the term I'm looking for? They're like, people say to themselves, well, out of all the numbers, say, I'll sell when it gets to 2, or I'll buy when it gets to 0.15. And so what we're looking at here is a trend is moving down right now. And do we think it's going to bounce off this line and return? Because if we do think it's going to do that, if we think it's going to go down to here and somehow come back up before going onwards, then this is probably a great time to start the LP, because according to the recent history of the last 2 weeks, a lot of people, like it's people bought when it's gotten to this sort of area. And so now it's in a zone where we think is probably cheap relative to the last 2 weeks. So this is how you use the volume profile range. If you wanted to set your boundaries, I'd probably go maybe just a little bit higher and lower if you want to be a bit safer. Generally speaking, especially when you're beginning, the wider the better. The more narrow, the more likely you are to suffer from impermanent loss. Okay, so let's see. We've now identified the bounds. Let's see how the buy and sell momentum is going. So we can see there's a pretty heavy sell-off happening right now. That let me just zoom in for you guys. That as the sell volume increased, it bounced back into the positive, but only for a short period of time before back down to the negative. So it seems like this is probably going to be a bit negative for a while. If we look back in the history, you can see there was definitely like higher highs of the buying volume. So what do you guys think? Should we LP this? Or is this probably going down? Because I think it might be just going down. The volume staying relatively the same. But for the sake of today, let's just use it as the example. We'll say to ourselves, if it goes below 0.145, then we're going to cut our losses and walk away. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Some the Twitter account got
Hacked?
taken. Yeah, got hacked. Okay, let's not do fog then. Actually, it could be a good opportunity, but
Yeah, we could be somebody's exit liquidity.
we'll go back. We'll stick to our guns.
Yeah,
We'll do something.
no, that's a joke.
We think it's a good opportunity. Okay. All right. Well, so this is a situation, guys, where we're a little unsure. So what you should be doing is exercising your risk management and only committing what you're willing to lose. Right? That's one way of dealing with this. You being unsure about this, you just don't put too much in. So and we've set our stop loss pretty close to the current price. So if we look at the price range and we go down from here to here, we're losing 8% if it goes past our stop loss. So, that's not an enormous loss. So use a small amount, and 8% of a small amount is not a crazy thing, right? But the upside, we could potentially, the price could move up 30%. Right, so we've identified these things. We see that actually in the very recent time that the sell volume is slowing. That's what we're looking at down here. So, and someone mentioned that it's a so someone mentioned that this is just a 1% pool. That's right, but there's a lot of volume happening. 200K in the last 1 hour. So it should be okay. So one of the fun things
Mario.
Say again?
Never mind. I'm making jokes. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. If Mario enters, then you guys gotta sell. He always and then if he sells, that's when you go all in. No, I'm joking. So one of the fun things, or like a handy little tip, is if you click the line that you create, by the way, you create lines here, and you can do horizontal line. If you set your horizontal line to the range that you want, and then you click this settings button. It'll give you some coordinates. We scroll over. We can just copy those coordinates, and then in the DLMM, we can just paste them. Oh wait, hold on. That's a classic. This is US dollars. Going back, I always do this. So make sure you're looking at a chart in Sol, because then you do exactly what I just did, and you go back to the DLMM and you're wondering what the hell, the price is so off. Okay, so anyway, we know 0.00091 is the floor that we're going to go for. And so I'll just refresh this, 0.000, and we said 91. And then top, we put 0.0013, which is already here. Now, I've only put one sol in this wallet. And imagine, we're saying, okay, we're going to commit one sol to this position. There's many different ways of doing this, but you could calculate basically maybe 75% of what we're going to put in. We want to put in, since we're near the bottom of the support, we think more than likely it's gonna go back up. So why don't we commit ourselves to 75% of our pool to the into the token, and the 25% in Sol. So sorry, screen. So if we do, just for the sake of this, we're going to buy 0.75 Sol worth of fog.
Is this the part we're asking people to follow along?
Yes, but maybe you want to do a smaller amount. Maybe let's actually stop being lazy and actually do the math. If we do, we'll do our total position size is half a sol, 0.5, and we make it 75% of that, which would be 0.375. Okay, so just put my password. Of course it failed. So I haven't put enough slippage settings. Okay. Fine. So I'm going to turn off autofill, which gives me a bit more flexibility when entering the amount. I'm going to do half of the fog I bought into the DLMM as spot, and the same for the sol. So I'm going to put 0.125, which is the remainder of my into fog like this. So I'm going to press add, put it in. Right, so we've got our position set. Now what I'm going to do with the remainder of the fog, again, the autofill is turned off. I'm going to put it on the bid ask. So 50% is bid ask, 50% is spot. And all my sol was spot. So what this enables me to do is take advantage of the potential of the price going up. And you can see, look at that, GN will show you where your purchase happened on the chart as well, automatically, even if you're doing it through the Jupyter widget. Because I don't know exactly where the bottom might be of this recent price trend. It might go a little bit lower. I haven't bothered to do the bid ask in the downward place. I just put my sol uniformly across the remainder of the range. This just makes sure that as it goes down in this area, since we're starting around here, that the liquidity gets used for any trades that are happening in there. Now, as the price will go up, if it goes up, we're still earning fees on some of the fog we put in as a baseline because we put in the spot, and then more of it will be added to the bins as we get up. Now, what we can do to enable we don't make sure we don't miss out on any of this is we can turn on the notifications. Sorry, it's the wrong button. Here, or what I actually prefer to do is find something like Desk Screener, and I put in the level I want. Which the top of the range was what? 0.00137. And so I can allow the alerts on this, and I say the price in fog goes over 0.00137. So make a little alert, says if it goes above that, I'm in profit. 0.00090. RIP. And so this will make sure that, especially if you have it installed on your phone, the Screener app, it's really good for having these like little alerts to remind you when something has happened, if it's gone above or below, in which case you might want to close the pool.
Dex Tools also has that.
Yeah, many of them will have
one.
this. Yeah. So this is, you can also do like, maybe you can say somewhere around 0.0013 and somewhere around somewhere around 93 and 13. You might want to create an alert to be like, check the check the chart. What do you feel like? Because now is your last chance to change your mind, basically, before you hit your stop losses. Right. So that's how we kind of set up a position. But now I actually want to check how it's going. And there's a really excellent website, LP for Fun. Personal. Is that right? Okay, so we've yeah, so this is great. Got this. This is made by an LP Army community member. It's just scanning the blockchain for your wallet address. You're not signing anything when you put your wallet into here. It's just a browser, basically like a new browser it's like SoulScan. So I put my wallet address into here, and it'll give you this breakdown of, quite quickly where you are in your range and the position and some of the details in here. And if I click into it and I click View Analytics, it'll open up a new screen. And let that load. And it'll give you your current value, how much you invested, how much you withdrawn, what your ROI. Hey, look, we're in profit. And what that is in Sol. You can also change to USDC. So we've already made 80 cents on our $80 investment. And if you have multiple positions, it'll aggregate it all as well, which is really nice. So this is a really nice way of getting like a live view of how things are going, if you're in profit or not. It can get a bit confusing after a while, especially if you're doing ups and downs. So yeah, So my computer is making a lot of noise at the moment. Yes, we've got a comment. Glad I'm not the only one suffering from tab bloat. 7 plus tabs for a single position is a lot. Ideally, we would have all that info more concentrated. And actually, this is really symptomatic of since I started LPing with Meteora back in sort of February, we've seen a lot of tools develop around it. And of course, stuff's happening all the time and being added in. And the team are actually able to add some of these things directly into the interface. It's not doesn't exactly reduce the tab load, but at least they're helping consolidate links to all of these. So you see they recently added the community built tools section, and then links to the charts and where you can buy the token from. And actually, it's a good segue to explain some of the like GeekLad and Metlex. So you're going to say something, Cook? No. We've had another question from Bob. Can you say a quick recap of what strategy you used to create the position? Yes, absolutely. So let me just add. I use the bid ask and spot. I mix the two. So here you can see it. I deposited all my sol as spot, and then a little, like half of my fog as spot. And then on top, I deposited the remaining half of my fog as bid ask. So in that way, I have liquidity sitting down at this bottom of the range to earn lots of fees. And then I'm earning fees as the price goes up, but I'm also benefiting from the price going up by selling more fog at a higher price. So right now I'm kind of at the point where I'm earning the least amount of fees. If it tipped just slightly lower to the 9.8 range, I'd be doing better. And when I get to roughly around 0.0011, you would get, kind of, you're starting to earn the same amount of fees as I would at the bottom of the range.
Looks like a toothbrush.
Yeah, it's the fat toothbrush.
Yeah, the fat toothbrush strategy. There you go.
I mean, you could do bid ask the opposite way around, because you're just trying to, like you could put your sol as a bid ask at the bottom here, because you're basically trying to accumulate the token. But this is, I think this is better to do if you just want to sort of sit back and chill and just let it, you don't have a lot of time to monitor. And so you do not have to open multiple positions. You can just deposit one strategy on top of the other. If it helps you, you can do as many positions as you want. Just remember that when you open a position and you place liquidity into a bin, you have to pay rent on that position. So it can add up. So what's next? We're going to go through GeekLad's tool. So for the sake of this demonstration, you're more than welcome to leave this open if you believe that this is believe in my thesis. But I'm going to close this position for now. And I'm going to claim the fees and close it. So claim, and then I'm going to check how I did. Although I think the API might still be fees. And then withdraw 100%. So you can see here, this is an important thing to note. You have two options: withdraw liquidity or withdraw in closed position. Now, if I withdraw liquidity, I'll just keep the same range, but there'll be no liquidity in the DLMM. Taking a while to land. Okay. So now you can see it's empty. So we do the same thing it did before. half of my half of this in here, 0.125 here. So they're both is spot. So this is half of the 75% that I was investing in FOG, and the remainder of the SOL that I want to invest. And then the remaining FOG I'm going to put in as a bid ask. And while that happens, let's have a look. The last 1 minute, there's been 4K of buys, 5K in the last 5 minutes, 126K in the last 1 hour. So yeah, things are going well in this position. They're stuck adding liquidity. Can someone link me Geeklad's? Actually, I think I found it. Yeah. So you've done a bunch of positions. I'm waiting for this one to close, by the way. Okay, it's done. We've placed it. I'm going to withdraw, close, so that we can check the performance, how this position did. And we'll check the profit and loss. And this really, for the sake of showing you all, I would obviously leave this for longer if I believed in the thesis. And you'll see this pop up where it says view transaction. You can control click this to quickly open it in a new tab. Then you'll see the signature here. This is what we want, but we're going to wait because at the moment it just says success, which means the command has been sent to the chain, but it hasn't been written on the chain. So I refresh, and now you can see finalized max confirmations. That means this transaction has been written onto the blockchain. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go to MetLex, and I click this P&L tab. And on here, I'm going to search the transaction, put it in. Now, the API, which runs all of this, has been buggy today, so it might not work. It looks like it's not working. But normally, it would give you a profit and loss thing that looks a bit like this. And you can see in here all these amazing positions that people have placed. And you'll get the same thing, how long it ran for, what the pair was, and how much profit you made. And so this, so you can't see the screen. 1 second. Basically, you go to the post wins channel in the Meteora Discord. That's what you would get if you put this transaction in the P&L tab. Just give it a bit more time. The API can take a bit of time. So in the meantime, we can actually check with Geeklad's tool how things went. And similar to the other one where this LP for fun tool, Geeklad's tool is just scanning the chain to see how your wallet has performed over time. And this wallet is not really going to show much. I haven't done anything on this really, except this one position, maybe the one from last bootcamp as well, which I think was a loss. Yeah, so you'll get something like this. You see that we've had 2 positions. Yeah, we did Mother last time and FOG this time around, and we made a net profit of 0.006 SOL, a profit percentage of 0.5%, basically. And so obviously the chart is going to be up from 0 to 0.5%, sorry, to 0.006. And one of the really great things about this tool is you can switch into US dollars and see how you're doing. Somehow I've lost 20 cents. Not great. And you can turn on filters, so you can choose if you only wanted to look at all the positions for a specific token, you could do that here. So you can select none and then just select fog, and it'll only show you fog. You can see that we did one position. You can also filter it by date range, which is really useful. And you can download the data as a CSV or as an SQL database. I like to put my CSV through ChatGPT and other AIs to assess my win rate, to assess how well I'm doing, if I'm tend to make more profit on bigger positions, or if I'm worse at doing bigger positions, that kind of stuff. It's really useful to assess yourself that way. Right, so let's go back to the presentation. You got anything to add to that, Cook, or anyone else?
No, I think you've covered that. We've got 25 minutes left. I think you got that. We got a couple more slides to go through,
Yeah.
and then we can
Okay,
open it up
moving
to
on.
general questions.
So we did the profit analysis just now. And yeah, this is a better view of what you'd actually see if you're using a more active wallet. If you're just starting, I would really, really recommend starting a new wallet, because it just helps so much with accounting for everything. Because some of these P&L tools, like if you use this, it doesn't count. If you bought something, deposited it in the DLMM, and then LP'd with it, this platform thinks you're still holding those tokens, so you'll have this different P&L to what you actually got. This will give you a more accurate. Sorry, I'm realizing I can't see my screen again. I was going back to the gmgn.ai website. It won't give you an accurate P&L because it doesn't factor DLMMs, but this will, the profit analysis tool. So it's good to refer to this and use it to assess, how you did this last one day, if you were doing lots of positions in a day, or this last 1 week, 1 month. So it's time for you to take everything we learned today and make some money, prove your worth for the LP Army.
Hell yeah.
I think you want to say something about this.
Oh, well, I mean, I could cover it, but yeah, here is your forms. This is what a lot of people came here to see. And I'll put the link here in the Zoom chat to this, but otherwise scan this QR code with your phone, save it. You're gonna need this. So save this link. We're not going to share it in the Discord or anywhere else. We want you to take the course and get it from here. Of course, this is being streamed right now to X and YouTube, and if you're watching it there, it's going to stay there. It'll be there forever, so you can always come back to it. And the criteria is shown right there on the screen. New position as of today. This is what catches a lot of people. They'll get a failure. They'll have a great profitable position, but they did it yesterday or 2 months ago, and we will 100% fail you for that. You got to put in at least $100 worth. In the DLMM, we failed somebody last time because they used a dynamic pool. So please don't use a dynamic pool. Make sure it's the DLMM. At least 1 hour long in length. Open and close it. You've got to close that position before submitting. Stable pairs. You can't use a stable pair, USDC, USDT. You can't use a pair that's tied to each other, such as SOL, and a liquid staking token, such as Judo Sol, BSOL, if it's on Sanctum, not going to count because the price of those tokens is tied to each other, right? So that's considered like a stable pair. So those aren't allowed. So something that's volatile doesn't necessarily have to be a meme coin, but you know, use the knowledge that Chief has just given you. Pick a good pair. And you must show a minimum of 5% profit. And it's going to show you on Metlex's tool, Alex's tool. It'll show you in the corner how much profit you've made. So make sure you have that profit. You have 1 week from today, and today is October the 20th. The forms will be closed at 10 a.m. UTC, whatever that translates into, whatever time zone that is for you. That's when the forms are closing, and NOAA will not accept any after that. So you've got a week to get it done. And we will not be issuing any rolls until after the forms close. That counts for both day 1 and day 2. Day 1, I crack those out really fast. The day 2 forms, your graduation, that's going to take some time, guys, because we have to grade them all, and then I have to go manually and check, see all the errors and everything that's gone wrong. I have to check all of those things. So give me several days before you start asking, where's my roll? You'll get it if you passed. We announce them in the bootcamp channel. So just be patient, please. It's work. This is the job. I think that covered it. If you have
Can I
a
just, I want,
question, yeah, go ahead.
so today the API isn't working, and so MetLex is not going to show you. It might show you even a negative result. It
Right.
doesn't mean that you can always return to your wallet on SoulScan days later and find that transaction signature and then put it in the day when the API gets fixed. So just because you can't generate the P&L card today doesn't mean it's lost forever. So if you did a position starting now and then you closed it in 10 minutes time and it was in profit and then you put it into the Metlex and it didn't work, don't panic. You can do it again when it's fixed in a day or two. So yeah, it's you
And
have 1 week.
yeah, so you have 1 week. We're going to close that form at 10 a.m. UTC on October 27th. So that's when it's happening. And I'm going to say this, if you come in and you ask a question that we've just explained here, we'll answer it, but we'll know you weren't paying attention. I'm just making jokes, guys, but for real. Yeah,
Yeah,
how
maybe
to
we should show.
go to the next slide here.
Oh, is it on the slide?
Yeah.
Okay, since that Lex isn't working, why is
Yeah,
this not?
advanced.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, you go into metalex.io, you click on the P&L tab, you enter your positions opening transaction signature. You can also use the remove liquidity signature. So that's, I showed you earlier, you go on SoulScan, you copy the thing once it's finalized in the blockchain. If you do it before it's finalized, then it's going to show you a loss because basically, as far as the blockchain is concerned, you haven't withdrawn anything yet from DLMM. But yeah, you paste it in there, you press the little rocket, then you'll get something that looks like this. So it'll give you when you opened it, which pool it was, the price when you opened, the different. So if you claimed fees, when you claimed the fees, how much each token it claimed, and then your profit and loss, and 20% here in this example, and you can verify that these are that the time in which it happened is in line with the requirements for the form, which is starting today and within 1 week, and that the profit and loss percentage is greater than, was it 5%?
Yep, 5%.
And then you take this, you produce this URL on the bottom here, you copy that URL, and you put that into the form. So click the P&L, enter your positions, transaction signature, verify that you got 5% and it was in this last week, copy and paste it into the graduation form. And if you pass, you're going to get something that looks like this in your wallet. Eventually, it takes some time to come.
It does. It takes some time because once we have verified everything, everybody's graduated, roles are issued, I give it a little bit of time just for any people, stragglers, some issue that came up. And then I send those wallets over to the team. The team themselves issues the NFTs. And so they do that when they can. So be patient. We just got Bootcamp 6 and 7 issued.
So we had a question just come in the chat. Are there any plans to integrate MetLex summary directly into Meteora when the position is closed? That would be great. I don't think so. I don't think there are any plans that we know of at the moment. You know, the link directly in the DLMM is about the best we're going to get right now. And, you know, like the cool thing about having separate and community driven is, you know, we can make changes to it. Like, for example, very recently, Alex has added in some new artwork. So if your position is greater than 100%, the Meteora boy is like a Super Saiyan. If it's a loss, he looks sad. If it's under 10 minutes, it's a different graphic. There's a bunch of cool stuff added in like that. But you know, one of the things that you can do is go onto the Meteor Discord and go into the product feedback segment, and you know, make a comment, say, hey, look, it would be really useful if we had less tab bloat. Let the team know what stuff it is that they should be focused on, or can be focused on in the future.
Someone asked if we could send the criteria again. The criteria actually put it in the form itself. I tried to be as informative as we could when I created the form. Even show you like what Discord name I want you to give, but we gave screenshots of the MetLex tool and the graduation requirements at the very bottom of the form, so all of that's in there. Someone asked, can you submit your last position? As long as that position was created on October 20th, yes. If it was created before October 20th, no.
So we've had a question. Is there a possibility for a future advanced session, like a lecture on utilizing BullX or HawkFi and other associated LP tools? There is
Yes.
a discussion going on about advanced bootcamp. You don't really need to wait. You can kind of just ask in Discord for now if you wanted to learn. But yeah, absolutely. Like this is the kind of stuff we didn't cover HawkFi and stuff like BullX quite yet. I actually wrote a Twitter thread about BullX, how I use BullX alongside Meteora, which if you Luke, if you DM me on Twitter, I can link it to you. Yeah, so BullX basically is, now I use gn.ai, but BullX does have some other features that they're basically the same thing, but there are some features that BullX has that the others don't. For example, stop losses and take profits.
Yeah,
which are really useful.
I have like a whole list of advanced bootcamp topics, and advanced bootcamps, the idea here is it's not going to be the same content each time. So like we may cover. It's not going to be 4 hours over 2 days like this. It may be just like, say, an 1 or 2 hours on a single day. Still working on these things, but it'll be various topics so you can repeat it and get that information. We're working on a lot of educational stuff, so it's out there. And there was another question that a couple of guys have answered really well. Gosha and Tux answered, but someone asked, why use Meteora than competitors? And I'll just hammer on that again. And we talked about this a lot in day one yesterday. You have these advantages of being able to really shape and focus your liquidity. You know, Orca and Radium, guys like that, while they can concentrate liquidity, it's only, if you will, spot
Uniform.
is the
Yeah.
only shape you have. You can't use the bid ask, the curve. You can't do that with them. They don't have these dynamic fees. You can make some serious money off of those dynamic fees. Um, there's a whole host of reasons for it. Me personally, I have used Orca and Radium. They were both very slow and aggravating, and I would rather chew glass than to LP on Orca or Radium. It's Meteor all the way. So that's just my add into that answer, that question there.
Yeah, I guess the short answer is if you're proficient with the DLMM, you're going to be way more capital efficient, way more. Um, and the dynamic fees is an insane thing that's added to the mix as well. Which means in some cases you can be earning 10% of every trade that uses your liquid, which is unreal. So sometimes you can get a 24-hour TVL percentage at 999%, which is the max.
Right.
And of course you can get crazy returns on the other LP things, but it's easier to achieve the higher rate with the DLMM.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's an important thing. I mean, yes, Radium has more TVL in general on some of these things, but over here at Meteora, you can earn more money with a smaller amount, and that's important. So the cutting edge.
I think we've over the last 6 months or so, we've really seen the power of that in the community. Just a lot of people, like making decent amount off a small bag. You don't need before you need like especially if you're LPing on like ETH, for example. Um,
Mm,
you need like crazy amount of money, and then the fees that transaction fees that you pay for. With this, like Solana and DLMM, and you know, it makes it a lot more accessible. And I tell you what, as someone who's like new or intermediate to crypto trading and technical analysis and stuff, it's a great way to learn with a lower risk before then you can kind of graduate into actually just buying coins and swing trading. Which I think is a better route if you were to think of your career as like your crypto activity as like a career path. I think it's a pretty good idea to learn how to LP and then um, graduate into like spot buying and selling. So yeah, if you guys get real good at this, um, apply it to join Gustav, get involved in the Meteor Discord. It's an LP jam, which is Ben, the founder of Meteora. Oh, by the way, another reason to use Meteora is Ben, the CEO, is like super involved in the community and is constantly, um, taking on people's feedback, having conversations with everyone. So yeah,
and
that's
yeah, so the somewhat well, Tux is answering that. When is the best time to? Gosha's going to answer that too. Someone wants to join the Goose Dow. They just ran you just ran a contest, Chief. That's over, right?
Yeah, we just did.
The drill.
Um, yeah, so you can't buy your way into Gustal. You just have to. First of all, you have to be really active and helpful for the LP army. So it starts off by getting the role from this boot camp, and then just start LPing a lot and sharing your wins. And if you can think of something useful to add to that will help everybody that gets involved, and that will get our attention. And or you're just helping other people learn, being generally just a really good community member. That's always going to help. We periodically run competitions, so it's based on profit percentage rather than profit amount. So give people who are proficient but don't have a lot of money an opportunity on equal footing with people with lots of money. But there is a minimum amount that we ask you to put to commit, which is I think 200 at the moment. So yeah. So we have a we get another question just is being answered already. And thank you everyone for attending. It's a pleasure to share all of this with you all. Hopefully, if you get good at this and you know someone else who could benefit from this, let them know. Get them signed up for the next boot camp. There'll be different times of the day or different time zones as well. And yeah, if you have any feedback about the boot camp or things that we could have done better, let us know. And so we have a question: when can I know that I'm part of the LP Army? Well, you're a boot camp private already, You're a trainee. Trainee.
So like
you
go ahead.
complete the task, like we just said, and once you complete it, you'll get the role in Discord. That's when you'll know.
Yeah, you'll
You've got
know.
to join the Discord.
I will after I give out the roles, after the forums close, after we grade everything in 1 week, I will announce in the boot camp channel. I will tag you. I tag everybody, and it takes me hours and hours to do it because I can only tag so many people at a time. You will get tagged. We got 4 minutes left. I think we're ready to rock, dude.
Oh yes, of course.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chief. Alex, Buck, Trisha. Thank you.
Boot camp is about to begin. Rise up, it's time to log in. LP Army will teach you the way to be LP warrior starting this day. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul, and now we sing our song. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Spot could be asked, use them all. Winning's the task, we heed the call. Boot camp, join our ranks so tight. Listen to the Goose Gang and gain your might. We will print and we will earn. Quest to gain as tokens burn. Join the ranks of the brave and bold. Story of the LP Army told. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Poach your wings with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin. We are LP Army, rise to the skies. Dynamic feast, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Bearable, we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the run and join the fight. We came together, LP Army might. Oh.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, you
Thank
can
you all.
find
Goodbye.
that out on it's on the Discord. We could share it there, but anyway, it's on Suno. Thank you. Chief. Thanks, you guys.